biggest one, I guess, is Trump bailing out on this NPR interview. Now, apparently the entire interview lasted 11 minutes. We've only got 7 minutes of it, but it's really the important 7 minutes. The last minute's probably the good part. I mean, God knows we've heard his answers on everything so many times. I'm a little poodleish right now. I gotta top out the hair a little. There you go. That's a little better. I have no bangs or anything right now. It's all so long. There's just nothing. All right. I'm just life. There's so much to do. All right, let's dive into it because I have so much stuff. I just know it's going to be one of the long shows. And it's Wednesday night. You got stuff to do. You got dinner to have with the family. I appreciate you spending time with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. If you like this show, please tell your friends. If you don't like the show, please tell your friends twice as much. You know how they say one happy customer will bring one person, an unhappy customer will turn away 9? Well, the internet is the exact opposite. I am Geralt of Rivia. I do have kind of a Aragorn kind of thing going on today, if I'm not too careful. I am a hoopy frood who really knows where his towel is. So Trump loves cut and paste or generic lies and fantasy. Yes, I no doubt we're gonna see some of that nonsense as well. We shall see. I'm just amazed. Besides the fact that he's got to desperately sell this fucking book, why he would go on NPR. I mean, the Republicans want it dismantled. How do the Pippi Long... Oh, I should have Pippi Longstockings. I should do full on, like side... Yeah, I'll work on it. All right, here we go. I've not heard this. I've not listened to any of this, although if it's anything like the other Trump shit, 80% of it we've heard before. Yeah.
News here. South Dakota.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Senator Mike Rounds, as I think you know, was on ABC over the weekend.
Jesus, whose phone is ringing? Trump's got another call already. Greg Kelly's like, "You're not on NPR, are you?"
He spoke about the 2020 election and also referred to the election campaign that is now starting in 2022. Let's listen.
We simply did not win the election as Republicans for the presidency. And if we simply look back and tell our people don't vote because, there's cheating going on, then we're going to put ourselves in a huge disadvantage.
A couple of things.
Yeah. Georgia. Trump really fucked up that whole election. They probably could have got one elected, but he told everybody to stay home like a dumb motherfucker.
Ask about there, Mr. President. Let's start with the politics. Is it a disadvantage for Republicans to keep talking about the 2020 election in 2022?
No, I think it's an advantage because otherwise they're going to do it again in 22 and 20.
Yes, it's an advantage. Hi, no. The point of the other guy was that you're a delusional fuck and they didn't do anything except beat your ass soundly and roundly.
And Rounds is wrong on that, totally wrong. If you look at the numbers, if you look at the findings in Arizona, if you look at what's going
on. Of which, by the way, I have. I guarantee you, I can say without any reservation, I have looked at the details of all of this bullshit from Mike Pillow's case to the Arizona recount and the audit and the cyber ninjas and the report that came from, and I guarantee there is no fucking way that he has looked at more of that evidence than I have. He's had a bunch of people whisper the same shit in his ears, which is why his ears are full of shit. But that and the contents of his cranium. But there's just no fucking way. There's no way. I'm telling you.
One in Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, by the way, and take a look at Wisconsin. They're fine.
We took a look at Wisconsin. Biden got more votes. But please, by the way, I have no problem with you telling your people not to vote in 2022 and 2024. Ethically, morally, I'm against it. It is never something that I would do, even though I'm against, your plans. I'm against your policies. But I would never say to your voters, don't vote. I would rather win on a fair playing field of idea versus idea, genuine belief versus genuine belief. But if you want to talk your voters out of voting, in many ways, that is the policy. More so than strong borders, America first. The primary policy of Donald Trump and the modern Republican Party is fuck voting. It's all rigged. We have no shot. And if that's your party's platform for all practical purposes, I can't exactly talk you out of it. Maybe, I disagree. I believe in voting. If you're going to be the anti-voting party, then fuck you. Knock yourself out. But this is the strategy. This, more important than any other policy, is grind about 2020 because this asshole wants you to think he won when he did not, and never vote again until they turn it over to him and put him back in the White House, which is just like the stupidest plan. Thank you, Laura, for the super chat. Hope you're covering Trump rally on Saturday. Oh, you bet. Oh, buddy. We'll do a special live show in the afternoon with that one. Oh, good stuff. And level 2 hype train already in Twitch, twitch.tv/AlSparks. And we continue.
Things that nobody thought possible. This was a corrupt election.
I just have to point out Doug Logan, to name one of the states that you just named. Doug Logan, who ran the audit in Arizona that was set up by your allies, didn't find serious problems. This is a quote: "The ballots that were provided to us to count in the Coliseum very accurately correlate with the official canvass numbers." He raised a bunch of administrative issues, but didn't find a problem that would have changed the result at all.
The ballots may correspond, but look at the ballots themselves. The number of ballots.
Yeah. Did they really check them for panda jizz? Because, I mean, we should have just let Trump get in there. Just grab a hold of one of them. Are we back? What happened? Something went weird. I absolutely got, we have to back up a little bit. I have no idea when that actually happened. Where was I? Had I said panda jizz yet? Yes, okay, good. I was at, just to clarify, I just want to know where the bookmark was. I'm back. All right. I'm here. Everybody's there. Everybody gathered in. Everything's fine. Refresh your page. Let everybody know to refresh their page. Yes, apparently panda jizz was the shutdown word. For some reason. Not quite sure why. That was fun. I'm going to move this keyboard thing away from here. Put this up here. Level 3 hype train. Just for being able to get back on the air, which I think is a miracle in and of itself. And hold on one second. I'm going to do something as well. Set something up. I think we need this. Yeah, there we go. All right. Fingers crossed. Here we go. All right. Tech snafus out of the way. Let's do it.
What you really have to do in that report is look at the findings. And the findings are devastating.
He just quoted the findings, by the way. Yeah.
For Arizona. They're devastating like nobody's seen before. Other states are just as bad.
Why did Republican officials in Arizona accept the results then?
Because they're rhinos, and frankly, a lot of people are questioning that. Why would they? They fought very hard, the Maricopa County people, and people don't understand it because all you have to do is look at.
I understand. I have an idea. I've got an idea, and I know this is a reach, but I know I'm losing on it. Follow me on this. Hush now, Lumpy. Hush now. The reason the Maricopa Republicans did not want you to look into stuff and did not find any votes that changed the election is because they were involved in creating so many fake votes for you to get you within shooting range where they thought you might actually win, but you lost anyways. They faked tons of votes for you. And that's why everybody's like, let's take a look at the votes and who really cast them. And they're like, no, don't. Because if you look, you'll find more Biden votes and a lot of fake Trump votes. And that's what happens every time they look. That's my 2 cents on it. That's what I think. All right, let's...
findings. And just so you know, some of those people went before Congress a short while ago, and they were grilled by Congressman Biggs, you ought to take a look at their testimony. They weren't able to answer anything. He made them look like fools. They couldn't answer a thing. They got up and gave a beautiful statement, and then when it came time to ask why this, why that, what about these votes, what about those votes, they looked like total fools.
Let me...
Oh, you mean the part where they're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about? You seem to be pulling this out of your ass? We know a lot about Arizona, and yet we still know nothing about what the hell you're talking about. They look like fools.
Some short quotes. The first is by one of the judges, one of the 10 judges you appointed who ruled on this, and there were many judges, but 10 who you appointed. Brett Ludwig, U.S. District Court in Wisconsin, who was nominated by you in 2020. He's on the bench, and he says, quote, this court allowed the plaintiff the chance to make his case, and he has lost on the merits. Another quote, Corey Langhofer, your own campaign attorney in Arizona, November 12, 2020, quote, we are not alleging fraud in this lawsuit. We are not alleging anyone stealing the election. And also Rudy Giuliani, your lawyer, November 18, 2020 in Pennsylvania, quote, this is not a fraud case. Your own lawyers had no evidence of fraud. They said in court they had no evidence of fraud, and the judges ruled against you every time on the merits.
It was too early to ask for fraud and to talk about fraud. Rudy said...
Yes, that's right. It was too early. I mean, it was before we had any evidence of fraud. We didn't have time to make up fraud yet. It was too early to ask for fraud. I'm sorry, when does that come? During dessert? Too early. It's never too early to ask for fraud when a Trump is on the line.
Because of the fact it was very early, because that was obviously at a that was a long time ago. The things that have found out have more than bore out what people thought and what people felt and what people found. When you look at Langhofer, I disagree with him as an attorney. I did not think he was a good attorney to hire. I don't know what his game is, but I will just say this.
I'm going to go with his game is evidence and not wanting to get disbarred.
You look at the findings, you look at the number of votes, go into Detroit and just ask yourself, is it true that there are...
Is it true that... Go into Detroit and look around and go, gee whiz, there's a lot of black people. There's no way this could be on the up and up. I mean, honestly, if you just set foot in Detroit, you're like, holy smokes, look at all the black people. There's no way. Just go there and look around. Oh my God. Just go to Detroit.
There are votes and there are voters. Look at Pennsylvania. Look at...
No, there isn't. There absolutely was not. There simply wasn't. I mean, you can keep saying it, and he will.
Philadelphia, is it true that there were far more...
Like, you go into Detroit, you go into Philadelphia, you're like, man, there's a lot of black people here. How did this happen? Who let this happen? This far north? Look at all these black people. Dear God, there's no way there was something legit going on here. Just... I mean, black people fraud. I mean, two sides of the very same coin. It's not a little weird? The cities he's picking in particular? No? You're shocked that they didn't go your way?
Votes than there were voters?
It is not true that there were far...
Tough thing
That's a pretty
tough problem.
It is not true that there were far more votes than voters. There was an early count. I've noticed you've talked about this in rallies, and you've said reportedly this is true. I think even you know that was an early report that was corrected later.
Well, you take a look at it. You take a look at Detroit.
Dude, they did. We have. It's been a fucking year. Nobody's been to Detroit in a year and 2 months. Son of a bitch.
They even had a hard time getting people to sign off on it because it was so out of balance. They called it out of balance. So you take a look at it. You know the real truth, Steve. And this election was a rigged election.
Why is it that you think that the vast majority of your allies in the United States Senate are not standing behind you? We did have that statement by Mike Rounds.
Because Mitch McConnell is a loser. And frankly, Mitch McConnell, if he were...
For the record, anybody listening at home or at another time or sometime in the future after this punchline has, shuffled off his mortal coil, Mitch McConnell won his election. However you may feel about that, this guy lost his election. Mitch McConnell won his election. Same election. Same election. Mitch McConnell's still in office, not so much.
On the other side, and if Schumer were put in his position, he would have been fighting this like you've never seen before. He would have been fighting this because when you look at it, and this is a long way from over. You take a look at what's going on.
Yes, it was over a long time ago, and we are well past over. It's a long way from over in that it's been over for a long time.
In Pennsylvania, take a look at what's going on in Wisconsin. You just take a look. Now, we had a lot of cases where the judges wouldn't hear them. We had a case in Nevada that was so good. When you read the papers, it's impossible. The judge refused to even listen to it. We had many cases. In fact, they say, and I can't testify because it's been through a lot of systems, a lot of different systems, but they say, and they say very strongly, the judges just, nobody's really gotten a chance to look at the United States Supreme Court. They refused to hear the case. And you had,
they said there was no standing to give the case. That's correct.
Well,
Can I just ask?
No standing. I know. No standing. And the president of the United States supposedly didn't have standing either.
No, that's true. See, you know that whole states' rights thing that Republicans supposedly give a shit about? You know that whole thing about how states have sovereignty from the federal government? The president, whoever that person is, cannot individually sue states to vote in his direction. Sue states to guarantee him a win. And if they could, we would not be living in the United States of America. We would have a Putin-like or Xi Jinping-like dictatorship. And apparently that's what this fuckhead wants.
I wanted to file it myself. They said, sir, you don't have standing. I said, wait a minute. I'm the president of the United States. They just...
Right. You're literally the last person with standing. You know who has standing? The people of the state, the AG of the state, to take a case against their own electors, I guess? But other states can't sue different states because they don't like how they carried out their elections. Unless you want to, wait for it, federalize the entire election process and make it uniform for every state and have the federal government control it. Make that case, dum-dum.
An election, hundreds of thousands of votes in different states. They just rigged an election. We got a number of votes that I think you'll agree no sitting president has ever gotten a number of votes that I got. No sitting president.
Yeah, but the guy who beat you got more than any challenger in history. That's how it works. And by the way, that's the upside of mail-in voting. By making mail-in voting that much more available, look how many more people voted. Look how many more people were engaged in elections in this country. Now, the reason you guys don't want everybody to vote and why Republicans push back against this and why people like Paul Weyrich, many people will know the goo-goo syndrome. Let's see. Let me try. In case you guys don't know this little bit. Here you go. This is the... Hold on. No, that's the... Hold on. Let me back up. Yeah. This is the Republican Party in a nutshell. This is the founding father of the conservative movement, Paul Weyrich, addressing a religious right gathering in Dallas, and Ronald Reagan was present at this thing. Hey, 666. Isn't it funny that I pull up Paul Weyrich's name and suddenly we have 666 people in the chat? Weird. Ladies and gentlemen, the essence of the modern conservative party. I give you Paul Weyrich.
Now, many of our Christians have what I call the goo-goo syndrome. Good government. They want everybody to vote. I don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
Mm-hmm. That is a Republican. That is one of the main people that Republicans have been taking their cues from for decades. That was the establishment of the modern Republican, fuck off the vote campaign. The goo-goo syndrome, good government. They want as few people to vote as possible, right?
It's true. A lot of
sitting president. Nobody believes. You think Biden got 80 million votes?
It's true.
I don't believe
it's
it.
true that you got more than any.
I don't believe it. Well, you don't believe you lost. You think you're still president or something. You're a deluded sociopath. We know this. And I don't buy narcissist. Anybody who calls him a narcissist, you cannot pass a reflective surface with a face like that and go, yeah, this is what they want.
President in the election you've disputed.
How come he couldn't?
If I can, Mr. President.
Let me ask you this question. How come Biden couldn't attract 20 people for a crowd? How come when he went?
Because it was a pandemic and people showed their allegiance to Biden's ideas by staying home and voting by mail or voting early to avoid crowds and not spread a disease, while a bunch of your followers like, what disease? And now they're dropping like flies because they're the ones who aren't vaccinated. You're killing your own people. And Biden, who hasn't gotten COVID, never got it, never gave it to anybody. How's Herman Cain doing, by the way? At what point do you not recognize that rallies, even of that sort, were an impossibility in the last election? So pitiful.
To speak in different locations, nobody came to watch, but all of a sudden he got 80 million votes. Nobody believes.
If you forgive me, maybe because the election was about you. If I can just move on to ask, are you telling Republicans in 2022 that they must press your case on the past election in order to get your endorsement? Is that an absolute?
They're going to do whatever they want to do. Whatever they have to do, they're going to do. But the ones that are smart, the ones that...
He sounds like a leader.
You take a look at how Carrie Lake is doing, running for governor. She's very big on this issue. She's leading by a lot. People have no idea how big this issue is, and they don't want it to happen again. It shouldn't be allowed to happen, and they don't want it to happen again. And the only way it's not going to happen again is you have to solve the problem of the presidential rigged election of 2020.
And how do you solve that problem? What, reinstate you? No, not how it works. They're literally, ask Al Gore. It turns out, he fucking lost by a lot. Like, this isn't even close. 306 and 8 million. Like, forget it. Just stupid number of votes that he lost by, and the Electoral College. Total, just ran the table, right? And yet, Gore was like this. I mean, if the Supreme Court hadn't stopped the count, Gore would have won Florida by 500 votes or some shit. Meaning that Gore actually won the 2000 election. But by the time it was settled and George W. Bush had been sworn in, game, set, match, fucko.
Thank you very much.
Wait. One more question. I want to ask about a court hearing yesterday on January 6th. Judge Amit Mehta, he's gone. Okay.
Just hung up. And imagine how beautifully angry.